You're watching Platts Energy Week.
Welcome back to Platts Energy Week. I'm Bill Loveless. The President's new offshore energy plan raises interesting questions for Congress. Among them, will lawmakers share the billions of dollars in proceeds with state governments, as Virginia and other states expect? And will the announcement win him some Republican votes for climate change legislation? Here to discuss the outlook on Capitol Hill are Tom Pyle, the president of the Institute for Energy Research, and Bill Snape, the senior counsel at the Center for Biological Diversity. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Allowing more offshore drilling is considered key to the climate change legislation that's being assembled right now. The president's acknowledged that. Senator Kerry, Senator Graham, Senator Lieberman have acknowledged that. Is this announcement by the president this week going to do that? Is this a game changer? Tom?
Well, I think for folks who are opposed to offshore drilling, it's kind of a dream come true. The announcement really kind of takes areas off the table that were already on the table. But in terms of how it impacts the debate on the Hill, it's kind of a design to give Senator Kerry and the other, Senator Graham, for example, kind of the political cover to go for it here in the next couple of months to see if they can cobble together 60 votes to get a cap-and-trade national energy tax through.
Bill, do you think it's going to make a difference?
Well, aside from the fact that I think it's an environmental disaster and probably illegal, I think you lose as many votes as you gain. Almost all of the coastal state senators have expressed either reservations or outright opposition to these types of plans, and I think it has created as many problems as it has attempted to solve.
You mentioned illegal. Your organization sued the government over the existing 5-year plan and in the process delayed the implementation of portions of that plan. Why do you think this new proposal by the president would also be illegal?
Well, for one thing, if you look at the Arctic proposal, does not all take into account the polar bear and the shrinking Arctic. The Arctic is literally melting before our eyes right now. We'll see what the environmental impact statements look like, but from our point of view, any type of drilling in those sensitive areas is a very bad idea.
What about this idea of revenue sharing? We have some now in the Gulf of Mexico and have had it for about 5 years for states there, and that's due to expire. Senator Graham, Republican from South Carolina, has said the climate bill should include revenue sharing for states and also the option for states to allow or disallow drilling off their coasts. Is Congress likely to go along with that, Tom?
Well, the senator and the chairman of the committee, Senator Bingaman, is opposed to revenue sharing, and I suspect he'll have a pretty big say in that discussion. But, you know, Senator Graham is working very diligently to pass this cap-and-trade national energy tax, and I think he thinks that some component of oil and gas exploration is going to be key to get some of his members on board. But I actually agree with you. I think this ruling is kind of too cute by half. It really doesn't get to the nut of the debate in terms of actually opening up areas, but it also kind of incensed some of the folks who are to the left in this debate.
Money make a difference, Bill? Give the states money, they go along with this?
Well, I think who gets the money is actually asking the wrong question. I think the real question ought to be, are we going to abandon our 20th century idea of energy and move into the 21st century? And I think for the amount of oil and gas, even under the most optimistic scenarios that we might get, it's a drop in the bucket. I don't think this is the right avenue to search for our energy future. I think maybe we do disagree on that point. And on that level, I think not only did President Obama break his campaign promise, he took an action that was different than Senate votes that he took with regard to the Florida Panhandle. It's just a disastrous decision.
And with the Florida Panhandle, it seems Senator Nelson this week seemed as though he's been opposed to drilling off the coast of Florida. His comment this week was kind of conciliatory. The president did say the drilling would take place 125 miles from Florida's coast. There's a ban there right now that Congress has imposed. Is Congress likely to lift that ban?
Well, he should be conciliatory because the American public has demanded this. We saw $4 a gallon gasoline not too long ago, and overwhelmingly the American public supports more exploration and production of offshore energy. And so the Senate is kind of slowly coming around to that point of view, and I think that for him and others that it's an important position to take.
Can you sell that in Florida, Bill?
I don't think so, and I'm not sure the American public does agree that this is a good idea. I don't think they agree that they want their beaches to be polluted. I don't think they agree that they want their fisheries to be sullied. I don't think they agree that they want species like sea turtle and polar bear to go extinct. No, I don't think the American public is for this at all. I think this is, again, another political disastrous decision.
Well, the polls show that there's overwhelming support for it. But also, I mean, this is we're the only developed nation in the world that actually doesn't drill off of their coast. There's other countries that do it. Right off the coast of Rio, they're exploring for oil and gas in their offshore areas. So this can be done in a safe, environmentally responsible manner. And quite frankly, the companies that do business in this country, because of some of the regulations, have some of the safest technologies and processes in the world.
You know, it's interesting. If you've seen a single additional Republican vote other than Senator Graham, or even a Democratic vote that may have been opposed or maybe uninclined, let's say, on the climate legislation, have you seen a single one of those votes move in the direction of offshore drilling now, or the climate bill? Let's put the climate bill more importantly. Because of the president's announcement this week.
No, I don't think you have.
No,
no, I haven't seen it. It certainly hasn't been public. And I think a good example related not only to offshore drilling but to the overall approach is Senator Collins, the Republican from Maine. She has her much simplified, I think better bill in the Senate, and she has been very clear that she's not at all interested in jumping on the Kerry bandwagon. She wants her simpler, better proposal to be taken up on its own. So no, there's an example of a senator who I think wants to play pool, just not in the way that the bandwagon seems to be rolling right now.
And for her, the senator from Maine, the offshore drilling is probably not, this particular announcement probably doesn't have an effect one way or another. That's not the issue for her.
I think that's right. I think it's the overall energy picture. And just to go back to something Tom said, the American people want their energy. They want it to be clean. I don't think they want to have dirty energy off their coast. I think there are a lot of other options besides that option to get the job done.
85% of our energy comes from coal, oil, and natural gas. That's a fact. It'll remain a fact, continue to be a fact for a long time to come. These other energy sources are definitely part of the mix, but they can't exist without the subsidies that they've been receiving. And we've seen in other countries where once you take the subsidies away, the industry goes away. So I think that to think that we can replace these sources anytime soon is wishful thinking.
Let me ask you for a quick answer. We just have a few seconds left. Do you think a climate bill is going to pass this year, pass the Congress this year?
I hope not.
I think it's 50-50.
Thank you, Bill Snape, Senior Counsel for the Center for Biological Diversity, and Tom Pyle, President of the Institute for Energy Research. It's been compared with the interstate highway system or the Internet in terms of potential significance.